Hi, my name's Elliot Maltby. I'm a principal systems designer. I work with Luke Presley on the mission feature team. I'm here today to talk about one of the new mission types we're prototyping.
So this is an early look, a new mission type, and usually we don't give you a look this early. It's because we don't have the nice shiny visuals.
But people keep asking to see the design brief, so we thought, what the heck, we'll let you see.
Okay. Gucken wir mal.
So a mission is built out of objective types, and the mission type really is just the most critical or challenging objective in that mission.
Currently, we have a number of mission types in the game. Some of these are not built in that modular sense. Some of these are very much bespokely built to test out a feature at one time. The original PI Wanted is one of those. The current mission types that do exist is we have deliveries, which are essentially a form of collect and drop off. We have eliminate missions, which is just kill someone, and eliminate ship missions, which is go there and kill destroy a ship that has a person inside of it. And there's many more. The way we see missions is they're comprised of little bits of gameplay. So, for example, we have missions where you're sent to kill a singular person or pick up a box or kill a bunch of enemies. So the way how we build our missions is we combine these together. So we'll have missions where you have to pick up a box, but we'll have enemies there that you have to kill as they're kind of like an obstacle for you to get around.
That isn't to say that you can't build a mission out of a single objective. The assassination mission, for instance, has one objective: assassinate a target. But even the most simplistic mission, like the delivery mission, is actually built out of two objectives. There's the collection of the item and the delivery of the item. And if we made the collection of that item even more difficult, we'd refer to it as a collect mission rather than a deliver mission.
So our objective types, for the time being, have been pretty simple. Kill this person, go here, do this. Until now, we're now looking at doing one of the most complex type of objective and gameplay things we've tackled in MFT. With that said, we're working on a new mission type, and that's investigation.
Okay. Ich dachte, die gäb's aber schon.
Currently in the game, the player can feel like a bounty hunter, a mercenary, a person who does deliveries, a cargo hauler. We want to make them feel like a detective as a new route. We're expanding constantly. We're building mining, salvage, and detective is going to be our focus in MFT.
The experience we want to give players with the investigation mission is that they feel like a detective, that they feel like they're collecting evidence that will ultimately answer the question that has been posed to them, and that they're able to kind of search through the evidence and find the red herrings and choose the right answer.
So what we want is we want to build a mission that requires you to have to think, requires you to have to look around, search your environment in detail, look at each individual clue and make sure you fully understand it before you make your decision as the detective.
And there'll also be red herrings thrown in there, so evidence will really have to be poured over to be able to determine whether it's actually credible or not. We also wanted to create narratives around our locations that we haven't done before, really dig into why has this derelict become a derelict, or why have all the ship's crew come to be dead, or why has this cargo gone missing. At the core of this mission, we're really asking the player to use their brain rather than their gun or their ship.
So for this mission type, I don't want to breadcrumb players along. I want you to feel like a detective. I will give you a story, I will give you little bits of clues, and you have to make up this full sort of painting and decide exactly what has happened here. And then the rest of the decision is on yours. I might not tell you if it's wrong or right, you might find out. The idea is that you feel like a detective and you're so sure of your decision that you're going with that.
Sie sagen sehr oft Detective.
Ich wollte sagen, so the next stage in this whole process is building a pitch. We have to come up with our ideas, how we want it to work, and then we have to present it to CR, Tony, and Todd, and make sure they're all happy with it and all of our visions are aligned. So when we're building the pitch, we start off by going, over the ideal experience we want for the player. We start off with the most advanced things, all the gameplay mechanics we could dream of to bring this sort of role to life as a detective. And then we have to start looking at stripping it back to see when we can release it, what's the minimum viable product for this experience.
And in the case of the investigation mission, we came up with 2. So the first pitch is extremely simple and it
Das habe ich mich auch schon gefragt, Mabu, aber ich tippe, dass sie dynamisch generiert werden.
Definite answer, like something that is undisputable. For instance, we came up with a mission where there is a repairman that's gone missing, and you can go to his office and you can find some correspondence that will lead you to another place, which will have his like work itinerary on there.
Ich finde die Idee ziemlich geil,
They're all crossed off until 1.
weil es halt was ganz anderes ist, aber gefühlt gibt es diese Art, also eine Art Investigation gibt es ja schon, wo du jemanden finden musst und so weiter. Jetzt ist es halt wirklich ein bisschen weiter, weil jetzt musst du noch herausfinden, warum ist er gestorben.
Ja, und du kriegst halt auch mehr Hinweise als einfach nur guck in der Höhle.
Ja, genau.
Sondern they're done, like when they think they have solved the mystery. And the way we do this is we scatter evidence around the location and clues that lead you to that evidence. And obviously there can be red herrings in there. You can get your answer up to a credible state, which might still be the wrong answer but you can
Ist auf jeden Fall eine geile Idee.
Whereas if you'd have carried on digging a little more, maybe found a few more clues and followed them, you would perhaps find an indisputable,
hier muss ich halt auch wieder sagen, es ist leider so ein bisschen, das ist halt wieder so ein Solo-Ding, ne?
Mal gucken. Also erstmal ja.
Klar kannst du das mit Leuten zusammen machen, aber dann findet einer was, so, und dann muss man immer sagen, komm mal her, und es ist immer so ein bisschen.
But we ultimately decided to go for the second because we like the idea of giving the player the agency to decide when they were done. So we're in the prototype phase with the investigation mission. Which is more important than ever because it's such a complex mission and we need to ensure that it's scalable and that other designers can make their own mysteries with it.
With the pitches, we can now prototype and sort of get that gameplay feel and see which one we want to explore more for the player's experience. Some of the hardest points of this are going to be the scalability of it. An investigation at its core is a story, so the story should always be at the forefront and the focus.
So the first stage of prototyping was to prove that we can make it like a mystery happen in the most restricted location we have, which was like a derelict. So this kind of interplay between the crew of it. From there, we're going to expand so that it takes into account more locations and uses all of
Geil fände ich, wenn man wirklich zu einer Derelict fliegen würde, man findet ein Datapad und dann startet so eine Mission erst.
Kann ja sein.
Das ist halt das Coole daran, glaube ich. Dass man sich wirklich auch mal ein bisschen genauer umguckt an so Orten.
The newer ways of getting information off of things, we're looking into using the med gun to find the name and cause of death of people, and we're looking into being able to find the mobile asset in an inventory and download data from it.
One of the hardest things that we have to figure out is the story. The investigation will live and die by its story, so we work very closely with the writers to try and figure out what kind of story we want to tell, what kind of clues we want to give, and then after that point we look at sort of what obstacles we want to put in your way.
Sehr geil.
Keypad locked doors, enemies, traversal puzzles, things like that.
Anfangs habe ich erst gedacht, okay, es kann ein bisschen langweilig werden, aber jetzt umso mehr sie tatsächlich sagen, was sie sich auch schon für Gedanken gemacht haben dafür, umso geiler wird.
It is supposed to be about them searching, figuring clues out for themselves and finding the answer themselves.
we want you to still feel like that detective, but ensure that we're giving you enough information in the ways that we can.
And we're working with the UI designer on the new mobile
Das wird halt schwierig,
which should really help with this.
dass sie das den Spielern nahebringen, also Informationen rüberbringen können, aber nicht direkt alles verraten.
Ja.
Aber eben auch genug rüberbringen, dass die Spieler nicht sofort verloren sind und sagen, keine Ahnung, was ich machen soll.
We're really excited to bring these to you. We wanted to give you an early look to let you know what we're thinking and see what you're thinking.
Erinnerst du dich an das ESC, wo das neue Team vorgestellt wurde? Das macht jetzt noch mehr Sinn, weil viele Leute halt in ihrer Sprache sowas dann eher verstehen, wenn sie Sachen lesen müssen.
How we build things. So by the time you see this, and maybe by the time it comes out, it might have changed drastically. We don't know yet. We're still working on it and figuring out the fine details. But player experience and player agency is at the focus of what we're trying to achieve.
We're really excited and hope you are too.
And I'm sure we'll be talking about this again in the future.
Ist auf jeden Fall mal ein neuer geiler Loop, der sich dann nicht so loopig anfühlt.
Investigations. Joining us here, and the only constant to follow up on that, is Star Citizen Live Game Director, Mr. Todd Pappy, and Star Citizen Narrative Director, Mr. Dave Haddock. How you guys doing?
Good.
These missions. We've got combat missions, we've got, calling missions. This is a whole new narratively driven kind of initiative for the Persistent Universe. What can you add to what's being said? How does this work, Dave? What kind of missions are we talking about? What kind of stories are we looking at here?
I mean, it's, again, we're still trying to figure out, it's a really interesting technical challenge because basically, with a mystery, it's tied into the story. And so, but because we need to populate the universe, it's presenting a really interesting challenge of how do we make these modular, but yet still feel specific. So it's a really unique challenge to try and navigate those waters and tell something that's satisfying. And again, kind of a new style of gameplay to engage people in a much more non-combat specific way that lets them kind of take advantage of all of our systems and just kind of explore and get to be these kind of detectives. Really.
Well, and ideally, it's something you can't always notice or always be like, okay, it's Colonel Mustard with the
lead pipe,
with the lead pipe or the rope. So we want to make sure that it feels unique, to the area and interesting. So it's like Dave said, I think it is going to be a big challenge for us to figure it out.
And the fun thing about it too is this is a type of mission where it's not just knocking out checkpoints on a list. So part of the fun with it was creating a system where the onus is on the players to feel like they have enough information to have solved the case, but not flat out telling them right out the bat, yes, you have, or no, you haven't. So it's definitely a fun thing that's presenting a lot of.
Ich hoffe halt wirklich, dass es hier nicht so ist, dass wenn du es 10-mal gemacht hast, dass du direkt weißt, okay, das ist so und so und so und so. Klar kommen dann immer mehr und immer mehr über die Jahre da rein, aber wenn man von Anfang an drin ist und von Anfang an quasi diese Mission auch wirklich gerne macht, dann hast du 10, 20 Mal das gemacht, dann kommt die nächste Mission, dann machst du wieder alles 10, 20 Mal. Und dann kennst du sie irgendwann auswendig.
It is our 10th anniversary, so I'm asking everybody who's joining us today for your favorite 10th anniversary stories. Todd, you're looking at me very intently, like what are you thinking right now? I can't get lost in your eyes. Not today.
Well, if there was going to be any day, it should be today. For at least for me, it would have to be at least one of the sitcoms. I know Brian mentions the Homestead demo, but I think even just getting 3.0 out the door, that was such a arduous process, and climbing up that hill was a difficult one, but to finally get that out and you see people's reactions. And
Do you remember in the 3.0 launch, I made this unfortunate bet with the community based on Chris Roberts' feedback that we were going to be out by June or whatnot, that I wouldn't shave until 3.0 comes out. It is December. We are in the global go, no-go. To launch a big patch like this is very much like mission control. Everybody's checking in, I'm good. And we get to, and Aaron is on this call, he's leading this call. He goes, well, that seems like everybody. I'm in a bathroom listening to it on a thing with a razor ready to go. And Aaron, I don't know if you remember this, Aaron, but you go, all right, that's everything, we're ready to go? And Chris goes, well, maybe we should check a few more things so Jared doesn't have to shave. and I usually sit in these meetings and I'm muted. I'm not supposed to be talking in these meetings. I'm muted. I'm like, you launched this thing! And then it was Aaron who took pity on me. He's like, all right, launch the patch. Do you recall that at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jetzt verstehe ich auch, dass er sich immer nur zum nächsten Patch rasiert. Jetzt verstehe ich das endlich mal bei ihm.
I mean, it's tough to lock it down.
Finde ich eine geile Idee, mache ich jetzt auch so.
Two kind of distinct areas. Actually it was the morning of the GDC announcement. Like I was in LA and woke up early to watch the live stream. So hearing Chris after, at that point I'd been on it for a couple of months of finally pitching it out and seeing the reactions of people freaking out and crashing the website and all that good stuff was definitely, the kind of the first indicator of what this could be, that this was really tapping into something that people really wanted to see. But for me, one of the big ones was it was the 2015, like the PCAP shoot, just to be able to work with that cast. The crew was amazing. Everything about it was just like this real engaging. I mean, it was a three-month shoot, right?
Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah, that's one that stands out for me huge as well.
It was.
I mean, the cast that was there and how
ich finde das geil, dass
passion that they had into the
ich finde es aber so geil, dass noch alle da bleiben. Das finde ich schön. Ich finde es ein bisschen schade, dass Chris gegangen ist.
There was a song that came about during the production that I won't spoil anything. I don't know if it's actually been released, but that became sort of the theme song of the entire shoot, which was amazing. So.
Xylo's blowing up my phone saying we need to hurry it up. So I don't know what that means so much, but just let you know.
All right, bring it back to me. All right. So thank you so much, Todd and Dave. It's time to move on to our next Journey to 4.0 presentation, the New Underground.
Es könnte schon durchaus sein, dass das im Prinzip Quests werden, die Detektivsachen. Stell dir vor, wie bei WoW. Du hast bei WoW auch Story-Quests, die du halt nur einmal machst. Danach machst du die nicht mehr. Und es ist auch ein MMO.
Ja,
kann man sich schon vorstellen, dass es sowas gibt. Also es ist halt nicht wiederholbare Jobsachen sind.
Du hast vollkommen recht.